Hey everyone, Al here. So today I'm going to do another video on how I prep my 338 Lapua brass. I'll have it all ready to go. I still got 3 shots here, but just thought I'd make a video on what I do to the brass. So I took it out of the tumbler, cleaned it. This brass has been loaded 4 times, so now I'm going to just basically do what I did with the other 223 brass. Pop the primers out. I'll do all 15 of these. And then I'll clean the primer pockets. I'm going to take this reloading all the way to where I am ready to, they'll all be resized and everything, a few steps farther than the 223 brass. They'll be ready for the mandrel, and I'll probably show you guys me running it through the mandrel too, and then just to show you how. And then I'll store them until I shoot those 3 and then prep those 3. I don't know why, I usually do them all in 20. I misplaced 2 somewhere from hunting season. They're in a pack somewhere or something. I'm not sure where. Okay, so that's all done now. Just basically clean the primer pockets. I always like to brush the necks too before annealing. So once I'm done this, the next step will be annealing, and instead of you listening to this thing grind away, I will finish all these and then we'll go anneal them. Okay, here I am. I'm going to change out the wheels on the annealer. Putting the bigger ones on. I try to remember where they're orientated. I mean, if it's off a little bit, it's no big deal. They don't have to be super tight. So this one here is about 4 o'clock. Had trouble getting that other one off just because it was so burnt. So about 4 o'clock it was. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can adjust it in the settings. Like I say, they don't have to be super tight. There's that. Now I will just loosen this sham nut, and then I'll just stick a test one in right here. And I like to get it so that it is close. And then I can, once I get the flame going, I can fine tune it from there. That's basically how you do a change. Like I can move this now a little bit and it'll stay. So now I'm going to get on with the annealing. Okay, now I can turn on the annealies and fire up. And so it's just a test one. So I'll let it drop, and I'll point right down there. Oops. And I want that flame, I'm guessing, right in that area. That looks perfect. Now I just got to turn out the lights and watch for, to see if it changes, starts turning red. I believe you won't be able to see this, so Just slow that down a bit. This Lapua brass is very thick, so it takes a little while for it to turn red. Making a little sore. This is all just wore out brass that I've shot over the years. I usually do this when it's really dark. Still looks like it needs to be slowed down a bit. Okay, I think I got it to the right temperature, or it's just starting to turn red. Is all I need. That's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest here and then we'll see you back in the reloading room. Okay, I'm now back at the reloading bench. What I like to do now is just like to put a little lube in the necks. That's just my thing. I've been doing it for years. Not a lot, because then the powder will stick to it. Just a little bit. This brass is still really hot, so it gives a good distribution of the lube inside the neck. So I'll do all 15 of these. I did 2 extra ones as well, just because I got a new mandrel set and I want to use them for a test. So I'll do all these and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lube the cases, but because I use a mandrel, which is a .336 right here, that's my old mandrel, I got a new set there. I use a bushing that is 335, so I can neck it back down to 336. So this is my neck die. And I'll just put it back together here. With just neck sizing with the die here, I take the expander ball out. That way I can, here it is here. That way I can use the expander mandrel in replace of that. So I'm not sure what the dimension of that would be, but which is about a 336 anyways. So this here will basically give you 2 thou neck tension as well. Yeah, it's about that. But with using the mandrels, I can control it better. Like I said, I prepped all that brass already, and it's gonna sit there. I got lots of brass. I got like 100, 200 brass sitting there. Just all I got to do is run the mandrel through it and powder primers and that, and away we go. So if you're going to use a mandrel, it's an important thing you have to do is take out the expander ball. So it's a 335 in here. That's what the neck's going to be neck to, and then a 336. It'll give me 2,000 neck tension, which is what I want. So I will also bump the shoulders back on these after I do this. 1.5 thou, and I'll show you how I do that here. So there's nothing to see right now. I'm just going to throw this into my press, and this will just resize the necks, and then I will do the shoulders and I'll show you what happens when I do that. I'm going to lube all these cases. When I do a small, like 223, I use that Hornady one shot. When I do 338, I use just this Imperial sizing wax. I actually put it all over the place on there. Just this wax is pretty hard. It's been so cold. I'll do this And then, like I say, then I'll just run these through here. So now that neck should be a 335, and see how tight that is to go in there. And then when I'm ready to reload it, I'll run this through on mandrel die, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, now I'm ready to bump the shoulder back. I got two different shoulder bump dies. This is for the Cadex, the other one's for my MOA 338. And I have a little note in here that says 16 thou, so, or new brass 17 thou. So previously fire brass, I think 4 times. So I take this and I take one brass that I fired through my rifle. I got to set this up, which is relatively easy. This will tell me how much shoulder bump I have. Actually go a little higher. It's right there. So I set this in there, and I like to set it up to about the middle of the shoulder, and then I'll lock it. And then, okay, then I'll spin this nice, and I'll zero it. So you can see that's zeroed. The reason it's flashing is because the battery's dying, but I still get lots of life out of it. Okay, so that's should be zeroed. Okay, so lube is your friend. So starting out with 16 thou. Look at that, exactly 1 thou. And that I'm happy with. So that's what I'm going to go with. So that one's done. Just double check here. That's 0. You can see that 0. I like to leave it down there a bit. 1.5. It's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to do all these doing this, and then we will be ready for trimming, and I'll show you how I do that. So, like I say, there's not much else to watch. That one was at 5. Sometimes they're different, within half a thou. I'm pretty anal when it comes to the 338. So there we are, minus 1.5 again. So that's 3 of them. I think that one might have jumped to 2, but that's all good. Okay, so I'm going to just shut off here, and I'll do the rest of these because it could get kind of boring to watch. Then I'll wipe the lube off. And when I wipe the lube off, I do nothing more than just like I say, wipe the lube off. And I will test this in the gun before I load it, just to make sure that it goes in. But you never know, could have that one anomaly that doesn't want a chamber, but I like to check them all. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now, and I will come back when we're ready to trim. Okay, I just want to tell you about this little gauge here I got here. I've had this for many years, and I know Hornady, Forester, and all those other companies have better ways of measuring off the shoulder. But when I bought this, they didn't have anything by these companies yet. So I bought this from a guy in Florida, Innovative Technologies. He has a website, and I also got the shims from him as well. So I got 16 thousandths of an inch worth of shims, and it comes with 18 thou. You can tell by how thick it is by the 2 little marks on it. So there's an 8, a 4, 3, 2, and a 1. And I just shim it underneath the die here. I'm almost done here, so I'll take it out and show you. I'll just run these ones through quick. These are just the 2 test ones that I'm going to see what they just come to. -2, they're good. So I'm done with the sizing now. So what I do when I set up the die is I go to what it says to in the book, and then I back it off maybe a half turn, and then I fill it all up with these shims. You can see all different ones. and I use it for every caliber, and it works fine. I like how it works. So, just so you know, the name's right on the top, Innovative Technologies, and the guy is out of Florida. And I use this thing religiously for probably the last 10 or 12 years, a long time. Okay, I want to explain a little more about how I set up this shoulder bump die, or even any full-length resizer die. What I do is I'll install it into the press and set it up via factory instructions. But where they say to stop at, I'll back it out a little bit more, about half a turn to 3/4 of a turn, and then I'll lock the lock ring. Then I'll take a one-piece fired brass and I'll insert it into this dial indicator, or digital indicator, I guess this one is, and I'll set it to 0. Like I said, so that's set to 0, and I will run the bottom part of this is right in the middle. On this side is in the middle of the shoulder. That's going to tell me my shoulder depth and how far I bump it back. I will then take a whole pile of shims and I'll put them there, and I'll run that all the way down in there. I'll take the brass, put it in, run it down, check it. It says 0. So I'll take this out, take a thou out, run it down, do it again until I get -1 to 2 thousandths of an inch reading on this gauge, and that is going to be my set point. I don't want to bump the shoulder back too much, because if you do, you're overworking your brass, and it's going to stretch here, and you'll get a early case head separation. These are 338 Lapua brass. They're very expensive, and I get over 10 loads of this. It's very important you do it without a primer in it as well. That's how I set up these. That's why I have 2. I got one for this 338 K-Dex and one for my 338 MOA rifle. So that's what I mean by putting 16 thou. It just turned out that when I set this one up, it worked out that it was 16 thou worth of shim pack to get me to between 1 and 2 thousandths shoulder bump, and then I always check it in my rifle, as you'll see. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, so let's move on to the next step, which is going to be trimming. After I wipe all the grease off, I will be trimming them with this Lyman trimmer. And with it, you get all these different little bushings. Now, I couldn't find one for 338. Everybody was out of the 338 ones. So what did I do? I took the number 4, which I'll never use, for 300 ACC or 17 Remington Fireball, and I got a machinist friend of mine to ream it out so that it now fits off the shoulder on a 338 Lapua. So we'll set this up here in a sec, and well, I guess I can show you how I do it now. Basically, I'll just unscrew this. There'll be a little, there's the bushing, little washer, throw that back in and drop it. Screw that in all the way. Then what I do is I like to measure a brass. I think it's 3.714. That's just going by memory. Oh, 2.714. I was off by an inch. Okay, so calipers are set at 0. And these are 20, I don't know if you can see that, 27.22. So how I set this up, I put a little thing on here, so this will be out. I just marked it with out, that's like an arrow, so I know if I turn this way it goes out. I'll stick this in, and it's still, I had it set for 338, or sorry, 223. I push it in, I'll just screw it in until it just touches, and then I'll turn this thing on and measure it accordingly. And each one of these little marks, when I turn it, is 1 thou. So let me get set up here with it. Be right back. Okay, here I am. I got this machine set up. The trimmer. And this is supposed to be trimmed to 2.714. And this is 2.719. So it should be 2.716. So I'll leave it set up there. I find this 338 Lapua brass, well 338 in general, not just the brass, 2.716. So I seem to found a consistent spot, 2 thou over. And to really feed this thing gentle, where it grabs, 2.716. Look at that. .716. So for quite the little inexpensive machine, it does seem to work pretty good. 2.716 again. I find you gotta turn it a bit. 2.716. And that is that. So that part is completed. I'll just scoop all this into the garbage can. Turn off my calipers. They don't. Okay, next step in the process. Chamfer inside and out. And always run the brush through. And I always wipe it clean and look, that looks perfect. Don't have to take a lot off. So I'm going to do that now with all 15 of these. That's how it looks. I usually, because this is a big case, I usually take some canned air and blow all the stuff out I can't get to the bottom, and I'll show you that when I'm completed, because after I do this, there's always some chips still in there, and I like to get them all out, so I will show you that in a minute here. Okay, now I got the canned air, so I just put it on the flash hole and just give it a little shot. You will see stuff come out periodically. Like there, I just seen a chunk come out. I know you didn't see it on the video. I want precision and accuracy because I'm usually shooting, well, not usually, but I'm always shooting at a longer distance. And every variable matters to me. I just had a bunch more brass come out and more here. There we go. Okay, my next step now, I'm going to get my rifle out and I'm going to make sure that these fit in the old chamber. I'll show you that here now. Okay, here's my rifle. So I'm just going to grab a brass. If I can see what I'm doing. Drop it in there. And it closes nice. It comes out nice. It's hard to do with one hand here. I like to check a couple. Wish I could. There we go. See how nice it goes down. I just had to secure the rifle in the vise here. That's the brass ready to go. So all I need to do now is run to the mandrel, and then basically it just needs primers, powder, and seating. And I'm not going to do that because I'll wait till these are shot and then I'll prep all those. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on how I prep my 338 Lapua brass. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and there'll be more videos coming your way. Thanks everybody. Have a good day and stay safe.